Up everybody, RTX 3000 just launched yesterday on September 1st, and I wanted to make a quick video for my fellow flight simmers out there and play a little bit devil's advocate and put my 2 cents out there as to why you shouldn't sell your 20 series card just yet. My reasoning for that is Intel 10th Gen just came out not too long ago, a few months ago, so not everybody has probably upgraded from that already. So if you're looking to upgrade, I mean, you could switch over to 10th Gen, but I really don't see like justifying that much more performance other than, you know, hyper-threading. But specifically with X-Plane, doesn't really take too much advantage of hyper-threading right now anyways. Not to mention, Vulkan hasn't gone public yet. Vulkan is still beta, and when Vulkan is released, everybody's going to get a frame rate increase. So it doesn't really, you know, it's still, at least as far as X-Plane goes, is focused on single-threaded performance. So, you know, and as long as you've got the speeds to back that, you know, you're going to be good. Not to mention, you know, if you do orthophotos and stuff like that, you're actually bringing down the workload that the GPU has to do, because it's just loading in those straight flat kind of textures, and it's not rendering, you know, it's not doing all the geometry and stuff that the sim is asking it to do. So in some cases, at least from what I've seen in my setup, is that I actually get better frame rates after I switch over to orthophotos. But specifically, I want to talk graphics cards. So that's touching a little bit on CPUs and take what you will with motherboards for that. But graphics cards. Now with the 3070 coming out, basically the same price, if not a little bit cheaper than the 2070 Super that I have here, with 2080 Ti performance, well, that kind of throws everything askew, right? Like, why not just, okay, right away, quick as you can, sell your 20 series card and take whatever money you can get for it at this point and throw that into a new 3070 or a 3080 if you want to split the cost, because essentially you'll be able to make, you know, let's say half your money back. I say don't do that yet, because AMD still has yet to release Big Navi, and they've been relatively quiet. And on top of that, look what NVIDIA did with the 20 series cards, where first you had the 2070, and then the 2080, and then you had the Titans, right? And then you had the 1050, and then all of a sudden you had the 1660, the 2060, and then they came back and then flooded it again with the super variant cards. So my argument is, the current price point for the 3070 might even drop lower. And if they do come out with super variants or TI variants or whatever, those are going to come down in price to kind of help them compete with whatever AMD launches, depending on how good AMD's product is. But these cards are still so good and so powerful, it doesn't necessarily just warrant you throwing out whatever you got and getting the latest and greatest best thing just yet. There's still a way where you can get, you know, take advantage of the market and see what's going to happen, and wait for those launch prices to drop. Because, I mean, if the 3080 is going to be $700, well, I'd imagine that they probably put in a card in between the 3070 Super, quote unquote, if they drop that, or TI, and the 3080 at around 550, 600, 650 bucks, somewhere around there, probably 600 bucks, which is pretty close to what everybody was paying for these brand new. So hang on just yet, sit tight, watch the market. The tech right here is good enough to last you. You know, flight simmers, we're not really after FPS, because no matter what flight sim software you're running, be it X-Plane or Flight Simulator, it's just, you know, you got to be happy at like 40 FPS to 50 FPS if you want to run everything on ultra details and all that kind of stuff. and generally, you know, it looks good. There's moments where if you take the time and go through downloading all the ortho photos and everything like that, it frickin' looks real at some points, you know? So sit tight on your purchases. Don't go just, you know, throwing out your cards, taking a loss, and throwing it on another card, because who knows, you could go buy a 3070 and then they could drop that other SKU and the prices on the 3070s will drop. And I mean, these 20 series cards are going to last you long enough into the middle of next year, I believe, even with the launches. The 3070 isn't even coming out until October. So, you know, if you needed a card, and earlier this year, I mean, what else, you know, what other options did you have besides just kind of going with a good medium range market where you could get? I'd probably agree that maybe the 2060 might have been a better purchase. But, I mean, even then, you know, if you're upgrading at the time from a 10 series card or below, like me, where I was coming off of, I worked my way up from a 600 card. I was running a GTX 670, and I worked my way up to this. So this is like light years ahead of what I was already on. But who knows? I think the prices on these, the cards that they just launched, the 3070, the 3080, and the 3090, maybe not the 3090, but the 3070 and the 3080 for sure, are either going to come down, or there's going to be SKUs that are going to be launched in between over the next, you know, 6 to 8 months. We'll see what happens. And I think these 20 series cards can handle, you know, I just don't see a reason to upgrade them just yet. But something to keep in mind, just my 2 cents. And again, you know, if you're a flight simmer, you're not really going after FPS, you're going after, you know, the smoothest and highest amount of FPS you can get on like maxed out ultra settings with all these plugins and weather add-ons and, you know, artificial aircraft and ATC this and weather that and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely a trade-off. But yeah, at least you can tell yourself that to feel a little bit better if you bought a card earlier this year or not too long ago. So thanks for watching, you guys. And comment down below. I'm curious to see what everybody else's thoughts are on this. Alright, we'll see you in the next one.